Afro Fish OG.
What is going on, everyone? It is Taylor back again on this episode of In the Know with Afro. Today we have a gamer spotlight with brand new. Like it's actually you're kind of new to TikTok. I don't think I've really seen you there for that long. I don't know how long you've been on there.
I feel like I've been on maybe for a year, but I just recently kind of started the past few months doing a lot more of the posting.
The host of Games and Gamers podcast, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's awesome. No, I'm super excited. I'm also terrible with intros, so because I get caught up in my own fucking intro that I did.
Dude, that was cool. I came in completely blind to this, so I was like, you said intro. I'm used to the intros playing and me just sitting here being quiet as the intro plays. That was kind of cool, actually, to see that.
No, I love it. I had a friend of mine who made the music for me, and then I just was like working. I was dinking around with it, and I was just like, "Oh hell yeah!" And so this works really well. But today should be a good one. I'm actually really excited. It's been a minute since I know myself have been doing a podcast as I'm lazy and I'm working all the time. But with all that, I'm actually gonna let you have the floor right out the bat. So I wanted to tell you about yourself a little bit here, because obviously for anybody else who shows up who is new, like, what are you all about?
Oh man, that's a hard ass question. I'm about video games, in case you can't tell. I'm getting a nice substantial collection behind me.
That's a Meliodas in the background?
Yep, Seven Deadly Sins. I got a game, Chris Tales. You can't really see it. The Legend of Zelda, right there.
Yep, I see the Legend of Zelda one. The Chris. I've never played Chris Tales.
I just recently found it. Like I was one of those. Like I scroll through eBay and was like, you know what? I've never heard of this game.
Mm-hmm. I think
buy it.
I think Chris Tales was up on the PlayStation Plus, and I think it was on Game Pass too at some point.
Mm-hmm. I got it on Switch. That's all I know.
Dude, with the Switch.
I like my stuff. I like being able to have the mobile gaming's really nice. I'll either have that or my PSP when I go on trips. So
the PSP. I have a PSP. And I have it still works. I just don't have a PSP, like a cord to charge it or nothing. Mm-hmm. But my goal is kind of like how you have your room set up where you got all this stuff all over. You can't see it over here because, like I said, Wretch's fat ass head in the way. Mm-hmm. But like my goal one day is like when I get a house and stuff to like put all this stuff in games, like consoles. Cause I got like a GameCube, PS2, all that. They're gonna be hanging up on walls. Yeah, it's gonna be great. My wife says no, but
let me tell you the easiest way to do it, because I have something similar right now. I'm actually sitting at my desk I built a few months back. It's an arch of all my consoles where it goes PS3, Xbox 360, Wii, my PS2, my Switch, Xbox One, GameCube, and then the PS5. Then down here is for my Dreamcast, and on the other side is my PS1.
Yeah, I saw that I saw that video when you're like, I'm playing my Dreamcast. Like I was like, oh shit, it just opened up on its own. Like
for the first time, I booted up for the first time, and man, it's probably the weirdest thing I've ever played.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. That's how I feel though with like some of the older ones, like the GameCube, and you hear the sound of the GameCube, and then there's like the inner child in me is just like
memories is something that I never experienced. It's a weird nostalgia thing.
Oh yeah, no, it's super. It's because I didn't have a Dreamcast growing up. I had an N64, which I will be getting again. N64 was awesome. I want to get the ones with like that you could see inside of it. You know what I mean? Like
the transparent.
My god!
Like early 2000s craze of see-through technology.
No, absolutely, and that's what it blew my mind back then. It's gonna blow my mind again now. I need to go pick up a Game Boy. I want to get a Game Boy Advance, and a Game Boy Advance SP. I don't think I have those other ones anymore. My brothers broke my SP, which bothered me because that was the one with the special. You know, they made the regular one, and then they had the one with the. I don't know how old you are, but
24.
24. So. Okay. But like they had the ones that are kind of like brighter, and I had it, and I was like, oh well, I'm gonna take it when I left my parents' house. This is back in like I don't know, 2010, 2011, and big old crack right down the middle of the screen.
No,
and I was so mad. Spiked it, but because I was even more. I knew it was already broke. It wasn't gonna fix. But
You take it out, it's broken, it's barely hanging on. You know what? Screw you. I'm gonna kill you.
that's why I couldn't be a doctor. Like, oh my god, my patient's dying.
You should play Surgeon Simulator or something. That'd be fun to see.
Oh no, I'm already bad with operation. I can't play just
sitting there, rip out the heart. He's dying.
Nurse,
Nurse,
he doesn't need this. I'll be like, they'll be like, doctor, what are you doing? We can make him better.
start pouring in. Like, here's a scalpel. Just drop that in there. Just drill. We'll add a drill to him. We'll make Inspector Gadget.
They're like, yo, what the hell are you doing? He owes me money.
Yeah, doctor, he can't pay it if he's dead.
Yeah, he can't pay it. He's dead. Oh,
yeah, that derailed.
You still got the car battery. He doesn't have insurance. But no, it's crazy because like when I look at like the consoles throughout the years and how creative, especially with like Nintendo consoles, how creative they get. My favorite is if you hold them upside, the N64 one upside down, it looks like the little like ship from like Space. I think it's Space Invaders.
I never noticed that.
But yeah, it's like I don't remember if it's Space Invaders or not, but it's like one of those games. Yeah. But like I don't know. Like when did you like let me get in here. When did you start gaming? Like what was your first console?
My first ever console that I played, like it was as like maybe 4 or 5. My dad had me play the original Mario on Nintendo. He wanted me to kind of, because he really likes gaming. That's where a lot of my love came from. But he wanted me to kind of start with the original one. That way one day I could be like, you know what? I've played Mario. Not everybody has played Mario, but I could say I've played Mario.
Right.
That was my first one. But then the first one I put actual time into, was PlayStation 2.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Because they had and I guess by technicality is PS1 on the PS2 because I played a lot of PS1 games growing up, like Final Fantasies, Siphon Filter. I played a lot of those older games on the PS.
Siphon Filter.
Yep.
That sounds familiar.
Let me go back to my magic shelf, see if I have it.
All right.
If it'll help you out.
It sounds familiar. It's just oh goodness, my voice. I'm breaking down. All right, I need to see this. Oh, okay. I know exactly what that is. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Like I wasn't after I started with the N64 and had the Super Mario 64. That was my first one. Like Legend of Zelda, Pokemon Snap, super underrated. Especially with a few drinks now. But like, it was jump to the PS2 as well. For me, I don't know about you. For me, it was the Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, I love Ratchet and Clank.
Oh my gosh, have you played them? Have you played them all?
I want to say in the PS3 era, there's 2 like a Kraken Time. One of the I haven't played that one. I've played most of them. I want to say I've played most of them, but then I go look and there's like 15 I haven't even heard of. But I know I've played 1, Going Commando, Up Your Arsenal, Size Matters, Deadlocked. I played the 2, and I played the PS4 and PS5 one. I know there's others, but those are the ones that I played.
Yeah, which one was your favorite?
Up Your Arsenal.
Really? Okay.
I spent hours playing that same game over and over and over, and I don't know why. Because I liked 1. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the super golden chicken gun. That one was fun. I can't remember enough about Going Commando to really say anything. Up Your Arsenal is just the one I spent so much time playing because I think it also had because it was probably because of the multiplayer aspect too. So whenever my parents and I would go to the lake, I'd bring a friend. We could sit there just playing it, and that was probably one of the big reasons. That
makes sense. Like I liked 1. I went back to go play 1, and it's rough. It's definitely rough. 2 is not that bad, actually. I would say 2 is better than I remember, which wasn't much. But like 2 is actually not that bad. Up Your Arsenal was actually my favorite, and I went back to replay Deadlocked. And that one jumped it.
I liked Deadlock. I played it. I want to say. It's been a hot minute, probably like 5 or 6 years since I played it, but I ended up really enjoying that game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think the guns were better. Like, I liked the guns better more in 3 and Up Your Arsenal. and I think I liked some of the worlds better in Up Your Arsenal. But I loved the gladiator feel of Deadlock more, and the customization. Like the customization you can do in Deadlock is actually pretty nutty. That I wish they would bring back.
Yeah.
Because you have the two mods, the Omega mods, and then the Alpha mods, and then like I think Omega mods were like shock, acid, napalm, mind control, all that stuff. And then the alpha mods were like area effect mods, money mods, experience mods, like, and to me that's crazy. Like, it gave me so much cause. Like, I ended up leveling up every single gun to 99.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I played the hell out of that game.
I don't. It's been so long. I want to say I've beat it, but like I said, I was back in high school when I played it. So I don't.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's like,
back there somewhere, but I bet I haven't played it.
No, it's they're all on the PlayStation. They moved them all to PlayStation Plus, and so I was like, oh okay, I'll go back and replay them. Same with the Sly Coopers. I went back to replay the Sly Coopers. I love Sly actually. I think they're.
Oh yeah, I have one of my friends at work. He and I will constantly debate which games need to get remade, and I'm always tossing in Sly Cooper because I have a lot of fun with Sly Cooper. I really like that whole little concept of it's just he's not an adult game, but it's like just enough to have fun. But I like the whole concept of like a Robin Hood kind of thing. He's not a villain, but I think he's not good.
I like Sly a lot. I think I liked I kind of connected with Sly because I felt he was just like, especially throughout the games. Like I played 1, 2, 3, didn't play 4, but like I just couldn't get myself. The artwork was too different for a Thieves in Time, and I just can't. One day I'll get to it, but I just can't do it right now.
Yeah, I understand. I understand entirely. There's some of those that just do that.
Yeah, I didn't like when they changed the artwork, and it just threw me off. But I think 3 ended it the best. Like it ended it how I wanted to. So it ended with Sly ends up with Carmelita, and then after he says he got amnesia because his head got smoked by a rock during the final fight with Dr. M, and then Bentley is talking about Murray, or what happens with Murray. Bentley goes and talks about then he shows Sly, and he shows this little binocular at Sly and Carmelita, and they're hugging or whatever. And Sly looks up at the binoculars and winks at him, and it's like he never had amnesia to start with. And I'm like, dude, this guy has. I was like, that's what I love about Sly. I'm like, and I realized as an adult, I'm like, dude, this guy has so much freaking riz. It was not even fair.
God, I love Sly. I don't know if you ever saw it, but I want to say back in 15, 16, there was apparently a trailer for a Sly Cooper movie that went circulating. Yep. And I got hyped up for that and finally played it for the first time.
Yeah. I was like, dude, God. I saw the trailer. Okay, so first beforehand, did you see the Ratchet and Clank movie?
When it first came out, yes.
Yes, I did too. What did you think of it?
I really liked it. I'm one of those ones that's really hard for me not to like something, and I like even the bad editions of remakes or whatever. I really still enjoy because I find the good thing in there. I remember loving the movie because I grew up playing Ratchet and Clank and those kind of games. My dad and I did. So when I finally watched it, he and I sat down oh my God, this is Ratchet and Clank. It's so cool. Come the end of the movie, we got to go play the games again.
That's awesome. When I went, I was the only one in the movie theater. And I'm like, seriously. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go to a Ratchet and Clank movie. I've been playing these. I know the games, and so they're like, oh, okay, here's your ticket. And I go, and there's nobody else, and I'm like, okay. And so in my mind, I'm like, I'm expecting similar to the first one. You know what I mean? Which would have been nice because I liked the little banter back and forth between Clank and Ratchet.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they don't start off as friends. They try to just helping each other and then become friends. And then when I saw them be like, hey, we're buds right off the bat after Ratchet straight up lies to him. And I'm like, so they're gonna mention that, right? They're gonna mention that, right? Never.
Nah, you don't need to. They're friends. They're best friends.
Right. So I think when I saw it, I was like, there was enough mix up in there where I was like, I can't get on board with this movie. And I think it's because I was expecting it to be similar to the first, and then when I saw that how much they changed it, because I didn't hate the Ratchet and Clank 2016 game.
Yeah,
I thought the story was kind of trash because it was similar to the movie, but I thought the gameplay was solid. You could tell they still on it. And then I played Rift Apart. And I don't know what you think about Rift Apart.
I'll be honest, I've yet to play it. It's sitting back there, but I know a little bit about it. I know, like, there's two different things. Clank gets sent somewhere else, and one of them gets sent somewhere else, and they have like a whole like doppelganger kind of thing they mess with.
Yeah, the different universe. They're going into the multiverse because everybody is at this point. But Jack and Daxter did it first. But like, I would say that, yeah, it was like, I thought when I first played it, I was like, oh my God, this is great, blah, blah, blah. Like, I thought it was really, really good. And I think I had it in like, if I had like ranked them all, I'd have it in like an S tier. By the way, if we have time one of these days, definitely do a video ranking the games.
I'll have to go through and play them all.
Yeah, whatever you got time.
I'll sit back. You'll do it without me here, and I'll just be sitting there marking eggs like, wrong. Wrong. What? That one's wrong. That one's right. Wrong.
We'll just see it in the comments and be like, well then.
Hey, Hayden's pissed off.
Well, yeah. No, I would definitely not be happy about it. But like, because I know I'd be sitting there being like, I am not wrong, okay? I'm right. But when I saw when I played, because going back to replaying, it's still really fun. Like, they're big open worlds and stuff. I have a feeling like I hope there's another one coming, because this last one, it's good. I probably put it from an S tier down to like a mid A tier.
Yeah.
But I'm really hoping that like they do continue, because oh my God, some of the weapons in that game are so good.
I mean, it's Ratchet and Clank. If nothing else, you want to see what kind of stupid gun they come up with.
Oh yeah, like it's whatever. I'm like, oh, this is the greatest boom boom pow I've ever seen. Like,
that's why one of my favorite guns in the series is the super golden chicken gun from the first one that just turns into giant fucking chickens.
Oh my gosh.
I maybe 8 or 9 when I first played it. I first saw it, my dad got it and said, hey, look at this gun. Let's see what it does. Turns into a giant chicken that explodes. Like, neither one of us could talk for like 5 minutes, just laughing our asses off.
I remember it was 3 when you get the I think they call it the Quacko Ray.
Yeah.
Which could turn them into like ducks, and then when you level it all up, it turns into like flaming, heat-seeking ducks. And I was like, "Who's the alpha now?"
I swear, Ratchet and Clank never took itself seriously. Literally, it was just like, you know what, guys, make us a stupid gun. The umbrella gun, sure.
Man. That's what you can't hate Ratchet and Clank, because they don't take it super seriously.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's why it was always so weird if you remember, like when Jak and Daxter.
I like Jak and Daxter.
I love Jak and Daxter. Honestly, I think the first one to me is one of the most technically sound games I think I've ever played of that era. There's no loading screens. Like, that's nuts for a PS2 game.
Yeah.
Especially for how fluid you roll and jump and stuff. And then the second one's like, hey, what if we combine it with GTA? There's the sad thing. I shouldn't say the sad. The funny thing about it is, for as much flack as they got, it's still a lot of fun.
Oh, Jak, I'll be honest, out of all of them, I grew up with Ratchet and Clank for the most part. Then I had Sly Cooper in there too. But whenever I was maybe 13, I started playing Jak and Daxter for the first time. I think overall, if I had to stick them, I'd probably prefer Jak and Daxter. I like the more adult tone to it, especially Jak 3. I think that's probably my favorite out of all of them. I had a lot of fun playing all these games. And Daxter on the PSP, like, I just enjoy that a whole lot more, at least now, than I would Ratchet and Clank, just for the aspect of it all.
That makes sense. Like, in Jak and Daxter, I always say they're kind of like the left behind ones, because it really feels like Jak and Daxter, at least from what I know, they told their story and then they were done. And I do kind of like that. I like that they were done, even though I love the characters. Remember, let's be honest, Jak looking from Jak 1 to Jak 2, I was like, oh, dude. Like, like Jak 1 is like, hey, I'm here to help y'all. Jak 2 is what happens after he started like delving into red pill content.
And then poor Jak 3.
Yeah, Jak 3. Although Jak Combat Racing was actually pretty fun.
I don't think I've ever played that one. Racing
is not just it's just blowing up and crazy racing stuff. It's fun. Like, I don't care. Like, I get to blast people and all that stuff while racing. It's like Mario Kart for
Guns.
edgelords.
You know what? I can see that. I've seen gameplay of it, but
it's good. Like it's so good. So then, did you hit hard with the Nintendo era then? Like, were you a big Nintendo person then too, or were you just more stuck with like Sony or just Xbox?
Because here's how my entire timeline of game went: was Nintendo to PS2 to Xbox 360 in like 2010 for Christmas. Then I got the PS4, and then as time went on, it was PS4 for a while. I became a diehard PlayStation person. Now this time I'm a bit of everything. Nintendo, I really didn't play a whole lot on Nintendo. Like I got the DS in the era of 2008, 2009, but that was like the most Nintendo you really had me play until my grandmother got a Wii. But PlayStation was mostly what I kind of grew up playing with.
Okay. No, the Wii was awesome, man.
It's an underrated thing. Like we've been finding a lot of them in yard sales recently. I think I have like 6 Wiis. I've got one here, and I've got my red one there. My dad has one, my grandma has one. I have 2 downstairs that are going to people I work with. It's Wii's all over the place.
That's crazy. So because I know like I love the Wii. Like I miss it. It's one of like I remember when it first dropped, and my parents got it, and they got it with obviously like with Wii Sports, but then like Super Mario Galaxy. Oh, that would be the big question to ask now, because for everybody else to know too. Are you Super Mario 64, Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Sunshine?
Not Sunshine. I just recently played Sunshine. The first 3 Mario game I really played outside I was being a kid was Odyssey, and that's probably my favorite one because the Switch I got was like a Mario edition that came with a free version of Odyssey with it. So I played it for the first time, and I loved it. I then went and played Galaxy. I liked it. I played Sunshine. I hated it. I've yet to play the 64.
Okay. So
I'll defend it. I may be wrong. I will defend my hatred for Mario.
I know, and that's why I want to know. Like, I want to know, like, how, like, why do you hate Sunshine?
So I don't know. Maybe it's because I played the newer ones first, as opposed to starting older. But the controls of it, at least for me, did not feel fluid at times.
Okay.
I'd sit there trying to do something. I had a big bad issue of trying to do something, and I have it on my YouTube channel too. I'm starting to plug it later, but I did it earlier. When I played it, I'd be doing something. Like he had his backflip. He could do his big backflip that gave him a whole bunch of jump. I'd sit there I'd do the spin jump. I'd do the spin jump for him to do a backflip and screw me up. Or I'd do a backflip for him to do a light hop backwards. So it has some fluidity issues there. I don't know if it was me doing it wrong. Plus it's just I got so annoyed at so many points because the camera, it's a 3D camera, so it's this little object. So I'm sitting there I need to swipe around here so I know where I'm going. Now there's a wall there and I get screwed up doing it. It's just, I just had a lot of issue with playing it. I can see the fun. Don't get me wrong. It's not a horrible game. I just don't like it.
You're going to have a fun time with 64. Because I've been going through 64 on, because I get the Nintendo Online.
Yeah.
So I'm going through 64 Mario, and I had that. If you want, there's one of my lives I was struggling because I couldn't. The camera's worse in that one than it is in Sunshine.
I should have started with the old and appreciated.
You should have started with the old.
But no, Odyssey was free.
No, and that's fair. That Odyssey is really good though.
That's my favorite Mario game. I think it trumps everything that's come out.
So I was working. I was working with like disabled adults, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys I was working with was like, "Hey, you want to play? Use my Switch or whatever for overnights?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." So I finished all my cleaning, sat down. I beat Super Mario Odyssey in one night.
It can be done. I want to say, my buddy got a beat that said like 3 hours. He knew all the tricks to get it done.
It's not that hard. It's just one thing I definitely did appreciate is the fact that I don't jump in and jump out after I beat a level, because otherwise that takes the game so much longer. Playing Super Mario 64, it's like that. Like you beat an enemy, and you jump out, you gotta jump back in, and it's kind of annoying. But it's still I would recommend still Super Mario 64 just to say you beat it.
Eventually, I have the I have Mario All Stars back there. I'm eventually going to beat it, so I can say I beat all of Mario.
Wish I would have bought All Stars. I was like, no, I'll put it off and I'll wait, and then I forgot that it was only a limited release.
I had to buy it through Facebook Marketplace, so that's the only reason I have it right now.
That's probably the only reason I'll probably be able to get it, because I was that's one thing that was positive about working at GameStop, is I could just go borrow games.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
Our GameStop here is assholes.
Oh yeah, no. The other one over where I'm at, they're decent. I will say they're pretty good. I've never really had anything to worry about when it comes to them. They went through a transition period, so I was only there for maybe 4 or 5 months, and then I left. But I go back every now and then and go talk with them. They got some good guys and stuff. But yeah, I would borrow one and then crank it out, then come back and just kind of switch off from there. The one I was trying to get was Forspoken. That was the one that I was like, that was the one I was like, oh, I'm gonna play Forspoken. I'm excited to play this because it didn't look that bad. I've yet to play it.
I've kind of played it here and there. Maybe I got it 3 months or so ago. It's not bad. It has some horrible dialogue. Don't get me wrong. That's probably one of the biggest weaknesses of this game is you hear it and it's like, oh.
It's cringe. It's like Marvel cringe writing.
You know what? This makes Marvel look good.
Oh.
Like there's definitely, it also depends. What was it? It was the Marvels, I believe, was whenever Nick Fury was trying to teach little Marvel how to fly. Is that what it is? It's like you have, am I thinking it right?
Maybe. I've never seen the Marvel. I couldn't get myself to go. I remember I was just like, it just didn't look appealing, and I was in a bit of I just not watching Marvel stage after She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and, yeah, I understand entirely.
But
I need to get this quote specifically so I don't sound horrible if I say it. Yeah. So Nick Fury was teaching Little Miss Marvel, the daughter from Captain Marvel, how to fly. And he says, "Use your black girl magic," is a line in the movie.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to look it up so I didn't sound terrible, but that's legitimately a quote in the movie.
That is awful. God, that actually bothers me. And that's the thing too, is definitely Marvel will be a topic, because I know if we start into that, that's going to be a whole 2 hours.
Let's bounce to something else, like more video games, like one of the greatest ever made. Life is Strange.
I've never played Life is Strange.
How have you? There's a new one coming out in 3 days.
Yeah, I know. I just block it from my mind.
It's
pretty great. They're
really
good
games. They're phenomenal games. All of them are.
I like those the ones where they require you to make your choices and stuff like that. I think those overall are pretty fun, and I'll get to Life is Strange eventually. The horror ones are the big ones for me, and that's why I love the Dark Pictures anthology.
I get that entirely.
Until Dawn, because I know you've been working on the remake for Until Dawn.
Yeah.
And what do you think?
I'm liking it.
Did you play the original?
I have. I've played. I was back whenever I was younger, about 8 or 9 years ago. I ended up doing a stream one day, just had the game beat all in one sitting. I enjoyed the game, and right now I'm not super. Maybe I'm 2 hours in. I'm in the middle of chapter 4, 3 or 4. And I'm enjoying it a lot. It definitely didn't need it. Don't get me wrong. The original one still holds up to today, but it didn't need it. But I like it enough because they changed some music aspects in there. So you go through and playing as opposed to some "Oh Death," the beginning song. I'm upset because they took out "Oh Death." They put in some Billie Eilish song. But some of these other moments they have going on, they add a different music to it that I think adds a little bit lightness to it. Early on in the game, Mike and Jessica are doing a snowball fight, and it seemed like just a teenage drama, like you see in a Hallmark movie, stuff like that. So they add some music there that add a little more life to it, which I'm okay with. The game looks great. Lighting, I think, is done fine. They got rid of the blue hue that was in the original, but I'm enjoying the game a whole lot. They've added a little bit here. I think it's like a director's cut of the original, which I really like.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'll definitely, because I don't really remember much of Until Dawn. I know I beat it. and not everybody survived. But it was funny. So I remember I was playing this and I made the joke. I was like, oh, I thought it was Jessica. It's that scene where she gets, I think the Wendigo pulls her.
Yeah, she just gets yoinked out the
And
door.
I was like, oh, the black guy didn't die first. And I was like, I mean, I'm sad that she's gone, but good job, me, right? So I keep playing it, and then there's that scene where they have the deer, where they're getting cornered by the deer. And I forgot what the dude's name is, the black dude. I can't think of his name.
Matt.
And he trips. Matt?
Yeah.
He trips and falls, and then he dies. And I was like, oh my God, okay, well, that sucks. And then I see the next one where Jessica wakes up, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, and so I'm like, the whole time, I'm like, no. Like, I was just, my mind was like always blown. I don't know why, but I was like, I perpetuated the stereotype.
Oh, it's fun. I love those ones. Like, I don't know if you ever played the Telltale Walking Dead, but I love that narrative. It's one of my favorite like choice-based narrative games out there. That's just it's so good. It gets flack for later seasons, like season 3 and 4, and I understand entirely. But it's still such a good game that I think everybody should play. It's back there. I've played it probably 8 or 9 times over the past 10 years.
Oh, nice. See, I played. I didn't play that one. Oh no, I should say I think I played the first chapter of it. I got to go back to through them again. But I did play like The Wolf Among Us.
I like The Wolf Among Us. I really did. Like the Telltale games, I really liked. It's like,
did you like the Batman ones?
I did.
I actually thought those were pretty good. I didn't like the second one as much as the first one.
Joker was my favorite aspect out of all of it.
What is this? Did they call him like John Doe in that one?
Yeah.
Like,
and he's not him not being a bad guy, kind of being made into one. I really like that. Like, he could have. It's one of those alternate things. He could have been a good guy, but no, just life was going against him.
Oh yeah, you see him always on the brink. He's always fighting with himself, and then when he finally gives in to who he really is, I do definitely like that. That one I'm excited. I hope they get a third one for that. The Wolf Among Us is getting a second, which I'm really excited for because I thought the first one was so good. Like me, I had my wife watch it with me. And I was like, you need to watch this. And she was like pretty much hooked.
I want the Game of Thrones to get its second season. It left on such a horrible note where everything was going so wrong. And then Telltale kind of got shut down, like not long after. It's like, I got to know what happens next. What's Aaron going to do? What's going to happen to whichever brother lives? What's going to happen to the girl? What? There's so many things.
See, So I would say I think at the time I wanted a new Tales of the Borderlands because I liked the first one. I thought the first one was actually really, really good. Borderlands is my favorite franchise. So I was excited when I saw there was like new Tales from the Borderlands, and then I just heard it was terrible. And that was pretty universal across the board. And I'm not listening. I'm not big on listening. I'm going to see if I can find it. I don't remember if IGN did a review on it or not.
Oh, never trust IGN. Come on.
I usually don't, but if IGN gives you a bad score, I mean, hell, dude, they gave Sparking Zero like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, same with Concord. So
and that's why I was like, I don't usually trust them. But if they give a bad score, that's usually a bad sign.
Didn't they also give one like it was like a 5 or a 6 on a Pokemon because they know the too much water?
Yeah. Well, they were the ones who gave was it like a 7 out of 10 to like Black Myth Wukong?
Yeah,
because there was like not enough diversity or something in there, and I'm just like,
yeah, they're. I don't trust the reviews. I have one of my buddies who will, if IGN says it's a 9 out of 10, it's a 9 out of 10.
Really? Oh my god,
yeah.
no.
Like I will argue it because Black Ops 6, whatever the most recent 6 just came out and they got a 9 out of 10. It's like, oh my god, it's got to be so good. Hey, remember, these are the people that gave Black Myth this. They had Sparking Zero, like the biggest fighting game of all time right now. Match Concord, so you got that. They also gave Octopath 2 a 7 because it was too similar to the original. Where Call of Duty, you know what it all is. It's pretty much the same game, just different story. So IGN, God, IGN. I do this in my own show. I hope somebody from IGN's listening. Get better, you suck. Anyway,
I fuck. You're absolutely correct, because the thing was, what reminds me of with IGN, there was a moment where it was when, and I'll always, I don't know why, but I always remember this because of my spectacularly selective memory, and it was IGN was talking about Modern Warfare when Modern Warfare trailers for the remake came through, and it was like, oh, how realistic it is and stuff, and you go into the room and there's like the one lady, and then there's the dude or whatever, and then the guy tries to pull like a weapon on you, so you take him out, and then the lady runs and grabs the weapon and tries to fire at you, and you take them out, and then like it was supposed to be like a little more realistic, and they're like, this game is just so realistic, right? If I wouldn't have to kill, if I could just like stun them, I wouldn't feel so bad, and I'm like,
yeah.
What? Like, what?
See, it's why you don't. It's why you don't trust like those big ones, because they get paid for some of them. But two, they just kind of don't know what was. I think it was also IGN that did the Cuphead. They had one person who couldn't
Dean Takahashi's Cuphead.
They couldn't beat the the tutorial level, and said, "Man, this game's really hard. Not everybody's gonna like this," and he couldn't get past the tutorial level.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. All right, appreciate it, Scorp. But, and that's the thing that got me so annoyed with it wasn't just Dean Takahashi, but it was IGN's, and there was a article that I read about 3 weeks ago, I'd say. It was talking about how like, we reviewers are just like you guys. There's no need to hate. Just don't get me wrong. There's no need to go. If you are sending out like threats and stuff to people because they give you wrong reviews, bro, that's crazy. Like, that's wild to me. And like, you need get some help.
Yeah, I was telling you that little Silent Hill story that happened to me. It was great.
Yeah, tell it again to the crowd, because they're gonna want to know this one. So actually, crazy. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
But crazy is my friend Black Scorpio. If I don't know if he's on there never. He's on, yeah, but he might be streaming. But he actually plays Silent Hill. He's going through Silent Hill 2 right now.
Oh, I hope it's the OG. No hate to the remake. I love the remake. I hope he plays the original first.
No, of course.
But Silent Hill. So I guess on this feed, I've talked about it a lot on my feed, the Games of Gamers. I do game review. I'm one of those. I don't get paid, so I do whatever I want. I piss people off. My buddy and I played the original Silent Hill maybe about a year or so ago, the PS1 one. And he gave it like a 4, maybe a 3 or 4, and I had to convince him to give it a 4. I gave it a 6, and on a good day a 7. And I put it in a Silent Hill group because I was good standing with him, and said, "Hey, here, I played for the first game forever, first time ever. Here's a link to go check it out." So they watch it, and not him, not the one who gives it a 4, who hated on it entirely. Me, more specifically, I get a lot of hate for like weeks because I gave the game like a 6.5. Said it's a good game. I like it, but not everybody's gonna be able to play it. Not everybody can handle the tank controls. Not everybody, like my dad. My dad can't do tank controls super well. He's not gonna like the underlying story of it. He'd rather play the game, know what's going on, as opposed to I kind of know what's going on, but I have to play it a second or a third time to fully grasp it. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing, is like that's one of the big like negative aspects of this game. That, and you also have the 5 endings. And you have no idea how to get most of them. Like my buddy, he didn't know how to get it, so he got the worst ending possible. I knew what I was doing. That's how I got the good ending. And so I was like, these are just some points that tick it down. I was like, I'm sorry, it's a good game. I love it. It's sitting back there now. That's how much I like it. And I got shat on. They were like, you have no fucking clue. You've never played a game before in your life. One of them legit messaged me on Instagram. I was like, oh man, I may even still have it, because he said, you've messed with the Crips. You're going to sit there. We're going to slice you up and all this shit. I'm not lying.
Oh, my God.
I'm not lying.
Oh, boy.
Do I still have it? Oh. I'm going to end your life, you stupid fucking gamer. You're an enemy of the Crips. I hope you got guns. I'm going to catch you up and throw you into a garbage bag and then put you to a fucking wolf.
Oh, my God. It's funny. It's not. That's wild. That is, yeah, that outbeats anything that I've ever gotten.
I was sitting, I legit laughed at it and said, "Oh my god, please do! I hate life. End it, please."
Well, the thing that's so crazy is like, okay, so like I think it's because also gamers can't stand their game being just okay. They
Yep.
cannot stand it being. If you ever notice, like nowadays we're talking about this, but I think we mentioned it's like all or nothing, right?
Mhm.
Everything is either it's a 10 out of 10 or it's a 0 out of 10.
Right.
You
You can
know,
have like I've noticed because I've been doing this whole review thing for almost 3 years coming up in next April, is you can have okay games. Like I played one this past year. I played the Alone in the Dark remake that came out this year. It's not a bad game. It's not a good game. It's probably the most okay I've played in quite a while. It's okay. Not everything
but
has to be perfect.
oh no, absolutely, and that's the thing. Like, and they're not going to be like one of my favorite games is Bright Memory. It's called and Bright Memory Infinite. These I found them up on like when Xbox does their little indie
Mhm.
like little indie sales, and I was like, oh okay. It was like $2 for one and $6 for the other. So I was like, okay, cool. They are so much fun. They're only like I think I beat Bright Memory Infinite in like 45 minutes, but that's the point. Like it's a game that involves time travel and stuff like that. So it's just like when I played it, I was like, okay, this game is super fun. But I don't think the game's a 10. I think the game's more like a 7.
Yeah.
But but if someone came up and was like, "Oh, you need to just to go and bury yourself because you don't like the game that I like, bro, shave your neck beard, go touch some grass, and get over yourself."
That's one of the best things I've been doing this. I've been enjoying. I don't trigger people on purpose. I have my opinions and I don't care. And I love getting the reaction. I mean, I was sitting there now. You can literally go watch it. And I was like, oh my God, I hate this game. Playing through it like every 5th episode. It's like, God, I hate this game. I'm gonna beat it. So I can say I've beat it. Then I'm never touching it again. But I enjoy reviews. I enjoy the negative ones for people who are like, oh, this is the greatest game ever. Are you sure? You just need to expand your gaming because, Forspoken kind of sucks.
Oh, no. I think that's always funny, too, is when you see people who like, well, this game is terrible. Well, I mean, it's fine. Like, I'm not going to say it's bad. It has qualities. It's just fine. And that's okay. There's games that can be just okay.
Yeah.
It's not going to be... like for example, one of mine, because I used to talk about, there's toxic fans. We all know who they are. We don't have to explain them.
I am one of them.
There you go. And so I said, there's usually what I like to call toxic defenders, right? And those are the ones who are the opposite end, right? Well, they're you have people who are just attacking everything, and they will, no matter, it could be a one called Tony Stark's Takes a Poop. And they will still say, well, it's part of the MCU, so it means you have to go watch it. It's one of the best shows that they've had around right now. You know what I mean? No matter what. Otherwise known as IGN staff. But
yeah.
But it's like they defend no matter what. They'll ignore every ounce of criticism. And if you do have a legitimate criticism that they can't get past, well, now you're an ism. So that's why I usually call them just toxic defenders. I think they call it toxic positivity. But it is it's crazy because you just get those two sides. And then there's everybody else in the middle.
That's why I was telling you prior. I avoid this stuff. I like sitting in my own corner playing whatever. If it's bad, I'm gonna just tell you I think it's bad. If it's good, I'm gonna tell you I think it's good. It's
right. Oh, no, and that makes sense because, for example, I've been so bad on making a video, but I've been wanting to make a video again. Excuse me. On Mirror's Edge, right?
The OG or Catalyst?
Both.
Good.
The first one's gonna be a Mirror's Edge, and why Mirror's Edge 1 is better than Mirror's Edge Catalyst. And that one's probably a touchy one for some people, but I think Mirror's Edge 1 is better than Catalyst overall. Definitely Catalyst does things better, which I hope they would. Like when they're like, well, the gameplay is better. Yeah, it's been 8 years. I'd hope so. And then Mirror's Edge Catalyst, I want to be like, why Mirror's Edge Catalyst kind of sucks. And I think a lot of it for me went down to the story of Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Mirror's Edge original to me, and this is what I was saying, is Mirror's Edge the original the gameplay is pretty good. There's definitely moments where it's pretty spotty, but even now it's pretty solid overall. The story is nothing super, but I'm fine with that because it's not meant to be this big, grandiose kind of story. It's really just about Faith trying to save her sister from being set up. And I like that. That's simple. I'm not trying to change nothing special. But with Catalyst, the way that they were talking about, these trying to do world building with these conglomerate families, which we never get to meet. Talking about how they're always trying to take over the city, which we never really get to see because we only get to see a small part of it. The main thing they're trying to do is they're trying to control people by controlling what their emotions are and all this other kind of stuff, which, yeah, we only get to see it once, but it'd be nice to know that more about it. And it just felt like it was a rushed story because that wasn't their main focus. For me, it was the graphics. Graphically, I think it looks glossy, which is the point, but at the same time, I don't like the glossiness. I like the real world aspect of Mirror's Edge more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it entirely does. I kind of get what you're saying because you have some of them that look realistic, and then some try to look a little too. At least that's why I've too realistic.
Yeah, they looked like really futuristic to the point where they're not making sense. Like there's moments where like you'll find like a billboard and it's just facing a wall somewhere, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like I wish we could be on the ground and go up. You know what I mean? I wish some of this took place everywhere, but because you guys made your building so high up, there's no possible way. In Mirror's Edge 1, I believe there's multiple instances where you go from a higher level to a lower level. And I wish they would have kept that. Also, just made it a sequel. Why go make it a full ass? Why make a full reboot? And so I have my own issues with it. I love both games, but I do think that Mirror's Edge Catalyst is not as good as the original Mirror's Edge.
And there's some of those I'll agree with on the there's some remakes out there. Yeah, I guess reboots. How do I like Alone in the Dark? Because that's the one recently I played. Because I played the original one, like the old the PlayStation one, 90s, whichever was the original one. Then I played the 2008, 2009 remake of it, which was ass. Then I played this year's one, which was not ass, but not great. Like just sometimes the originals are where it is because it doesn't capture the same kind of magic that the original one had.
I need a remake of Gauntlet.
I'd be down.
I would love a remake of Gauntlet.
I need a remake of Parasite Eve.
I could say so because I've never played Parasite Eve.
I gotta leave.
Yeah, I never had it. There's a lot of games that I never got a chance to play when I was younger. Like my parents were like, "Oh, this game looks like it could be violent. Oh no, go play Frogger."
Hey, just watch a frog get crushed by a car.
Yeah,
and that's where Ratchet and we're back to the Ratchet. That's where that came in. Was my mom didn't want me playing violent games, so as opposed, Dad got me Ratchet and Clank. There's no blood, there's no violence, there's just innuendos, and I was too young to understand.
The innuendos are so much funnier now as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are so great. And it's just so the franchise is really good. But I agree, when it comes to not every game needs a remake. Not every game does. Some of them do. I will say some do. And right now, for example, the Knights of the Old Republic was supposed to get a remake, but it never did. Bums me out. Because I never got to play Knights of the Old Republic with that era, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to go play Knights of the Old Republic, and oh my god, I was like, this game. I see where people like it, and I also see a lot where Mass Effect got a lot of its tidbits from.
Mm.
But I can't play that game.
There's some that are like that. Like there's one behind me. Siren, Project Siren, Forbidden Siren, whichever thing has those three. It's a PS2 horror game similar to Silent Hill kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Where it's weird. It's weird because it's multiple stories that come together at the end. The game kind of sucks. It's early 2000, maybe 2003, 2004. And it has not aged well. And I want to say within 10 years, it kind of already aged itself out of of being a good game.
Oof.
Because I played it for...
Really?
I played it first time when I was 14. So about roughly 10ish years after it came out on the PlayStation 4. It was like $5. I said, ew, I'm gonna do it on sale. I bought a game. I had no clue, didn't Google anything. And oh my God, I hate that game.
Really?
It's clunky. I can see the fun. It's one of those ones that's fun to watch. It's not fun to play.
That, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel that.
I know people who like it. Like my brother-in-law likes it, but he's not like oh, it's a great game. It's a fine game. It's a good game. You can play it. Not everybody will like it, but I like it. It's a decent game. It's like probably give it a 6 or 7 in our number thing. But
that's how you get. That's how you get all that hate, though. And that's the thing. Like when I look at games that could use like a remaster or remake, right? Because I don't mind remasters as long as they fix the quality of life issues.
Right.
Mass Effect is a prime example. Mass Effect 1 is not a very fun game to play, especially on 360. Like, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love the Mass Effect games, but playing the 360 version, and then you go play the Legendary the edition, it's like night and day. And it's just those small quality of life, like, better responses. The AI is a little bit better. All that stuff can make a world of difference.
Oh, 100%.
And so, like, for Mass Effect 1, which I think is absolutely a fantastic game, to be honest, I do think the difference between the 360 version and the Xbox Series, whatever, Xbox One version, it almost kind of phases that one out. And, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm comparing it because my dad and I recently, because we got him an Xbox over this past year. We actually booted up for the first time and we played it. And I still enjoyed it, and it could be because I just had fun playing it. I remember it was as clunky as I remember, so maybe that's why I didn't have the. I still think it plays the same, so I play both of them. I was like, oh man, I'm playing Mass Effect. That's great.
No, I definitely I can see that. Like I know myself. I'm like more. I like get into like nitty gritty stuff about it a lot, so that's like my biggest flaw. But I think that like when I look at games, also like what was I gonna say? There's one off the top of my head. Oh crap, The Darkness. Like a game like The Darkness, I would love to see get a remake. And it was fun. It was like you play as this guy named Jackie who's part of a gang, and he. If I remember right, he has this ability where he controls he controls demons. So you have to stay in the dark, and then you can use the powers of the demons and stuff. So you blast off the lights, and so it's all pure darkness, and then you use your demon powers to grab a person and bring them back or something, and drag them off. It's actually pretty cool.
And looking at it,
you take a look at it.
I'm looking at it right now. It actually looks kind of cool. I'm sorry for cutting you off. All I'm saying.
No, yeah, you're all good, man. The game was cool.
I'm reminded of the. I don't know if you ever played the PS2 game called Run Like Hell. That's what I'm kind of reminded of looking at. Run Like Hell is like the original Alien Isolation, but you have guns, and I'm just kind of reminded of that.
Oh, okay, yeah, definitely. And that's what I love about. I miss that era, that 2000s edgy era. Right? We got games like Dark Sector, The Darkness, Dark Void. I don't know why they just kept going with Darkness, but that was the whole. Red Eyes Darkness Dragon, but they
gotta have their darkness in there. Got to bring some of the stuff back.
If we're going. Sorry, cut you off.
If we're going dark remakes, we got to go with the old school, and then it was GameCube was Eternal Darkness.
See, for me, I think the one that needs a remake also is Fear.
I can agree with that.
Fear is one that I feel kind of got dropped. It kind of got just it was good, and then it kind of got forgotten about. And I think Fear is one that could come back. It deserves one. I would say, I don't know if it deserves a remake. Prototype.
Oh, 100%. It needs something. Prototype hasn't been touched in a while. If not another one, then a remake trying to bring it back.
I would love another one. I remember I was watching. I can't find it anymore. But there was a dude who had a story for it, for Prototype. And the whole story he did for Prototype 3 was that you played as the character of Pariah, I think. And it's kind of interesting. So you start off as this family man and all this other kind of stuff, and everything, everything's good. and like you have a wife and all this other kind of stuff, but your character starts feeling weird, and eventually he's like, I need to go outside. He goes outside, and then he like falls like to his knees, and like there's rain coming down, and in a puddle his body changes. So he actually, like, Pariah took this person's body and didn't realize that they did. And I was like, okay, we can have, that'd be a great way. Or like, I think like Infamous needs another game.
Oh, 100%.
Infamous is fantastic. Like,
I played Second Son was the first one I played. I really liked it. And then I went back and got my GameStop recently had the 1 and 2, so I've got them sitting back. I've yet to play them, but I know. But what I've seen of Infamous is it's actually really cool, and I do want it to get something because it's been 8 years, 8, 9. When was the last Infamous?
I think it's like 2017, 2016. Yeah, so
14, but first
14.
Light.
So it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
And Infamous Second Son is good. Like, I loved the whole concept of using smoke. I liked his powers. His powers were pretty cool. The neon ability was really cool, especially when you maxed it out, so you just infinite run.
And like the ability to just swap between all of them, I really like, because the smoke, the neon, the was tech, because he could go like techie.
Yeah. Yep. And then like the concrete is the last one, but they only give it to you after the game's over.
Yeah.
I think because like to me, smoke would have been. I mean, if I had any of those abilities, I think smoke or video. Because video was cool. Like, you're telling me I just get to fly around everywhere with big old wings, but smoke, it's like you can't hit me. Like, I can just disappear into one of your vents and you'll never find me.
Just got to be hit with something hot, or look at Ace from One Piece. If it,
That's true. Yeah, if you just hit with something.
I had to. I'm sure you watched One Piece, so I had to bring it up. I'm sorry.
Don't tell it to Death Battle. They might try to use that as a reason. Did you see that Omni-Man versus Bardock?
Yeah, I knew how it was gonna go, because Bardock is not as well known, so they had to go with one who's more known to be like, well, he wins because people know him.
Oh yeah, I crack up with Death Battle because some of the stuff on there is so like, you're like, oh well, but Omni-Man could beat him, but I'm like, no. It's like, listen. I said, don't listen to like Death Battle if you want to talk about any kind of power scaling. There's a lot of people online. This is actually what God, I didn't want to go into but it kind of bothered me a little bit about TikTok's version of power scaling, because some of those guys on there are terrible.
Yeah,
absolutely atrocious. Not only are they bad power scalers, they're also just bad debaters. Like, they're bad conversationalists. I'm not saying I'm the greatest either, but like, I was watching one, and the guy was telling him, he was saying that, who's the strongest Boo?
Oh, Buhan.
Buhan. And he's like, no, it's Kid Buu. It's Kid Buu. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's Buhan. And he's like, no, or it wasn't me saying it, was the other guy, but he's like, no. He's like, you gotta pull up skate. And they're just like yelling at each other. And I'm just like, yo, this isn't solving anything. Like,
it just makes you look dumb. That's
it does. And it gives power scaling a bad name. Like, don't be wrong. Like, I remember Death Battle doing the Aizen versus Madara fight. I remember watching that. I remember disagreeing. I think Aizen wipes the floor with Madara. And it's not even close.
Right.
But it was just like, it was like listening. I think the thing was Death Battle too, is that they're like, well, this is for entertainment purposes, right? And this is my own real issue with them, is like, you can have it for entertainment purposes, but just don't be disingenuous. Like, obviously you need to do more research into the two. Because like, telling me that Bardock beats Omni-Man is just not, it's not a thing. Like, just kind of like, like I said, with Aizen and Madara was one, I was like, I can see where you think that Madara would win. But also, no. Like when they did what was the big one? The Gaara versus Toph.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember watching that one. And I was like, in my mind, because at the time I don't think Korra was out yet. Or not fully out or something. But Gaara should have wiped the floor with her. And I think I got into it with like one of my brothers. And he's like, well, no, because he's like, Toph is stronger. I'm like, I don't think you realize how fast Naruto characters are. Like, I think Toph, like those kind of characters are fast too. I just don't think Toph is as fast as Naruto characters.
Oh no, but also if I remember right, at least younger Garo wasn't, super. He didn't do a whole lot. He really wasn't good at the combat. So that's another thing.
No, and that was the thing is like, but they had him dressed as like adult or not adult Gara, but like Shippuden version Gara. And so I was like, oh, okay, a Shippuden version Gara versus Kid Toph that they're using comic book statements for. And I'm like, okay, so is this kid? Because I'm like, adult Granny Toph probably bodies Gara.
Oh, I'd put that as more so just because she'll little be over there just sitting there. It's like, hey, Twinkle Toes, you're dead now.
Like, so I was like, it was very interesting to me when I was watching it. But like, I don't hate Death Battle. I was just like, I just told them like, hey, you guys need to check your stuff a little bit better. Of course, you got the community who's like, you're fucking trash,
Oh man, I didn't realize we were coming on here to talk shit. I would have had notes ready.
Bro, I'm always talking shit.
I came on to talk games, and we've talked half of not even games.
Oh no, it's always, and that's the thing with like with the way that my podcast always run too. Like I'll start with one, but it's like kind of due to my own ADHD. It'll start bouncing. So I apologize. It is.
Oh no, we're good. I ADHD too. I entirely get it. I didn't realize you came in. We were originally supposed to be talking Final Fantasy VII. That's what I got originally invited on for. And then you said, we're just gonna talk video games. That's great. And I'm not hating on this at all. I just didn't realize I was coming to talk shit. I would have come more prepared.
No, it's all good, man. Like it's always like whenever I want to mine, it's always something. I had a podcast last one I did. It started with like ways to help the gaming community, and like that was like maybe for like 10-15 minutes. And the rest was all about Assassin's Creed and why like Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft is just kind of trash, which that's a conversation in its own mind. But it was great. I didn't, because I don't really play much for Assassin's Creed. I think someone said they thought Black Flag was trash.
I can see it. Black Flag is my favorite out of all of them.
Black Flag. No, I never played Black Flag. So as soon as like I watched two of them just go back and forth, and I just sat there, I was like, huh.
Pirates. Everyone's
right. The
pirates.
Oh, you can't hate pirates. Like you can't hate pirates.
You can hate Skull and Bones pirates.
Huh?
You can hate the Skulls and Bones pirates.
Okay, I never played Skull and Bones, and I'm kind of glad I didn't.
I got to play it. One of my brothers. I have 3 older sisters, so I got 2 different brother-in-laws. I played it with one of them, and it was an experience, to say the least.
Really?
Don't get me wrong. It feels like right now like old No Man's Sky, where there's not a lot added to it, but it has the potential to it. If they updated it, it could 100% be a great game, but no.
But no, they just don't.
Exactly.
Well, and that's the thing. That's always bothered. The part that pisses me off too is when you're like, I see the potential. Why don't you see the potential?
I don't know. And you know what? You asked me originally, we're going to talk about how to help the gaming community. We can talk that right there. Don't dismiss a game immediately. Don't give it some love, because No Man's Sky is probably that, and Cyberpunk, 2 of the biggest gaming turnarounds ever, where they were legit unplayable on the first thing, and after time went on, they're now, No Man's Sky is still getting updates, so people are like, okay, we get it, you've proved yourself, it's a good game. Cyberpunk, I think it finally got its final update. That, I don't know, final update, but like everything that they knew was wrong with it got finally updated, so now it's still being hailed as like one of the greatest games ever made.
Right. And it's crazy to me because, like, I got its DLC and people were like loving the DLC, the Phantom of Liberty, which I haven't played yet. I also haven't beaten it yet. I have to chalk that up on another list of games.
It's okay. I haven't beat it either.
Like it's because I end up spending so much time just driving and dinking around So it's just like I start and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do a couple missions, and then I just slowly veer off and just drive. It's kind of like GTA is the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You start with a mission, next thing you realize you're just driving,
Cruising around, looking at everything.
Oh yeah, because I can't afford it normally outside. So
It's $60 to experience life.
right, and that's the thing. It's like, and that's why I like. Okay, so I will say, because I'll go back to remakes real quick. So I'm guessing you did play the Final Fantasy VII remake then.
Oh, I have put way too many hours in the 7 remake.
Okay, because I want to hear, because I've known like my friend Scorpio's thoughts, but I want to hear what your thoughts on it was.
Just
Like, was
part
it
1 or
we can do both parts? Like, this is all on you here, because like I said I'm a newbie. Like, get me to want to play like Rebirth and stuff. Like, I want to see what you think.
It's becoming this one thing out of the gate. It's becoming better than the original. And I'm saying this as a fan of the original. I have it back there. I've played it probably once a year for the past 15 years. It's slowly becoming, and whenever it gets finally finished, it's going to be a better game than the original. So the remake portion, the biggest issue I have with the remake so far in its entirety is it took one game and split it up into 3 separate things. Like 7 remake is the first 4 or 5 hours of the original game. Okay. Rebirth then ends at disc 1 with 2 other discs left.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's expanding it tremendously well. Don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying a lot of it. I love remake. I've played it. I think I'm at like 500 hours on that game. I played it a lot. I have a bad habit of what I'll do is I'll go through like 100% it. All right, let's restart and completely delete everything I did and just play it through one more time.
Oh my gosh, I could imagine.
Go.
I
think you can play. Otherwise, I'm going to ramble. So I'll let you speak on before I ramble.
I was going to say no. I it's been a long time since I put any kind of hours into that. I think the closest I have is like 200 something into Elden Ring. And wait! What's that face for?
You want a hot take? You want a hot take that's going to piss a lot of people off? Souls games are overrated as hell. They are. We'll get back to the 7. Their praise as being okay games. Like, I've played them. Don't get me wrong. I've played a lot of them. Bloodborne's my favorite purely for the aesthetic. But outside of the lore, the game itself kind of sucks. You go for the story, they're great fucking stories. Dark Souls 1, 2, or 3 are phenomenal. Elden Ring is great. Bloodborne is cool. It's just, I just don't get the hype of the gameplay itself. Like, I played Black Myth recently. I've been playing it off and on, and people are saying it's a good game. And it's another one of this. It's kind of a mediocre experience because it doesn't do anything different. All it is like, okay, let me just memorize. All right, there we go. You memorize how to beat this boss, on to the next one. You die 100 times, then it's just a rinse and repeat game. It doesn't have, I don't see the replayability, and I've played them. Like, don't get me wrong, people out there on his feed, I have played these games. I just have never understood the absolute overwhelming hype for any of them.
Okay, that's understandable. Yeah, I can see it's because it took me a lot. Like, I bought it in 2022 when it came out. I didn't really start playing it until 2024 because I would start to play it and then I was just like, I'm just not feeling it. And I'd start to play and I'm not feeling it. And then once I started learning like the ins and outs of the game, like how the mechanic works, because I'd see people do like the no summons run and only use it. Yeah, I'm not good enough for that. Like, I'm just not. I'll use summons. I use whatever's in my repertoire. You're going to give me the ability to play a game this way, I'm going to play it.
Right. And that's another thing is I don't like their community is like, so you don't play it right if you use magic. If you don't go in fists only, you don't play this game right.
No, exactly. And that's the one thing. Okay, I will say though, fists, like they introduce like the whole like fist fighting and it's awesome.
I have a buddy on YouTube who does it and he was doing like fist weapon only and he was having fun. I think it was Dark Souls 1, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. The only ones I've ever played was Elden Ring, so like that's why like I hype it up like as much as I do because I really like during when I was off work for about like 3 weeks. And like during that time, like Elden Ring was pretty much like, okay, I'm dedicated to beating this.
Mhm.
And thought my dog was here. And I was just like headstrong the entire time. Let's do this. Let's do this. You know, I'd beat a boss and I was like, hell yes, I'd feel so good about it. Now it's like I'm just kind of, I don't get the same high obviously from it. Because there's a lot of that euphoria kind of feeling that comes through. But I really loved is like the creativity of it. You know?
Oh no, and 100%. Like whenever it comes down to it, I'm not gonna hate on any of the Souls games for what they do because each one is cool, and I will not discredit that in any way, shape, or form. I like Elden Ring as its own thing. It's a big open map. I've spent maybe 150 hours and do a lot of it as exploring, and I love the game. It's cool. I just don't see the overwhelming hype that people are like, this is like the greatest game ever made. I've played it. I was like, I don't see it.
That makes sense. I mean, I feel like the fandom hypes it up so much more, which I think is a solid game. I would probably, I don't really ever game games a 10 out of 10, except for Sonic Adventure 2. But like,
I thought you were about to say Sonic Frontiers for some random second. I was about to,
no. But I will say that I did really enjoy like, you know, the constant, like I said, the constant creativity of it being like, oh, I'm good. Like my first run through it was just big old bonk build. You know what I mean? Like I had my guts is great sword.
yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm about like, here I come to fuck shit up. And like, you know, and it would usually let me on my ass a bunch, which is fine. But
trial and error. That's why people like
yeah.
these games. But that's also the exact same point of why I don't like them. Like my dad. So my dad, I think I said earlier, my dad's what got me into gaming. And as time's gone on, he'll be like, all right, Hayden, you've played more games. Give me a game I've never played. And I went looking through the thing and ended up finding Dark Souls. I don't know, got me on thing. He played Dark Souls 3. That was his first ever Souls game he ever played.
Ooh.
He was not a fan because he said, I want to play the game for fun. I don't want to sit here and die 300 times. Know why I died that many times just to get past one enemy. It's not.
Right. And that's why I do believe that it's kind of like what you said before. Like the game, not every game's going to be made for everyone.
Right.
Like even though every game is made for made to be played by everyone, not everybody. The game's going to be made for everyone. And I think it's also interesting though too because that's something that because obviously I'm sure you've probably heard that like people are like, oh, Elden Ring needs an easy mode. Elden Ring needs like, you know, it needs to be easier because what if I, you know, I think the last one was what if it should have a pause button because I can't play the game and watch my kid at the same time.
I don't know. It does have a pause button.
And I was like, or you could not play when your kid is there.
Or you could just not have kids. Did you ever think of that?
Yeah, right. Like, lame. So like, and so I remember hearing that. I was like, huh, it's arguably the dumbest thing I've heard so far today. And so
sometimes it's fair, sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Like there's a guy I saw on TikTok who was arguing with somebody, which I get the sentiments, but the guy was mocking a little too much, so I wasn't agreeing with him. Was this guy said, this one guy said, if you don't play the game on the hardest difficulty, like if you don't immediately hop into the hardest difficulty, you're not a true gamer. And I was finding like, that's not true. Not everybody has that kind of patience. Not everybody hates themselves enough to do that. And then one guy said, well, I can't. I don't have the time to sit there and suffer. I have, a wife and kids. Sometimes they want to do this. I'm not going to sit here, get pissed off, let's say God of War, playing in the hardest mode, dying to a Valkyrie 3,000 times and go take out anger on them or have any sort of frustration even in their vicinity. And he's like, wife and kids. That's so stupid. I don't have those, so I don't have that problem.
Yeah, that's just dumb. Because to me, it's like, okay, I get it. Like, either the dude's like, oh, I don't have time to play this all. That's fine. I feel like it's weird when they try to get to the whole like you have to play the Souls or Elden Ring, right? The Elden Ring is no summons. Oh, you use summons, you're a scrub. Okay. Well, you beat Renala and I've beaten Renala. 2 different ways, but at the end of the day, she's still lost. So
exactly.
Yeah. So like I don't like that, like, oh, you're not a true gamer. I mean, unless you don't pick, Vaporeon as your favorite Pokemon.
If you pick Vaporeon, then you're not a real gamer. Let's just say
No,
that.
you're not a real gamer. Like
There's an inside joke. We're never going to explain it. So
no, it's never getting explained, and I'm probably going to get me in trouble. So, but it's just like it's crazy. This whole like, oh, you're not a, because I'm not gonna lie, I have gotten that way before a little bit. I think it was this like group club thing that I'm in. And some of the people were like talking about how they're like, oh, we're all nerds, we're all I don't like using the word nerd anymore. We're all nerds, and it's like they're like the most like vanilla version of a nerd possible. Like, oh, I like Harry Potter, and that's usually about it.
The mainstream nerds like, oh, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, yes,
yeah. Like you don't like because I was like, I've never watched Stranger Things, right? You've never watched Stranger Things? No, I have never watched Stranger Things. Like, like all the nerds watch Stranger Things, and I'm like, oh, don't get into that argument.
Back in my day, all the nerds only watched anime. If you didn't watch anime, you weren't a nerd.
You weren't an anime, yeah. You wouldn't watch nerd. Do you play Warhammer? Like, do you play Magic the Gathering?
Do you even play Dungeons and Dragons with minifigs? Come on.
Do you not scream Yu-Gi-Oh when you start your duel?
Hey, don't single me out like that. Don't you fucking single me out like that.
Oh man, I'm not gonna get into Yu-Gi-Oh strictly for the fact that every time I get into Yu-Gi-Oh, it always usually because I played for quite a while. And I still kind of keep myself informed of the card game and stuff. I just had a conversation with a friend of mine earlier because we had another dude that we know, a mutual, and he was like, Yu-Gi-Oh sucks now. And I'm just like, and just give this like all these reasons. It's the same reasons that people always give.
Yeah.
And I'm, the game was better when I'm like, when you were playing with friends. That's called backyard Yu-Gi-Oh. It's like literally like playing basketball. It's like a pickup game in basketball. It don't count. Because like I said, I've been playing a long time. I actually think the game is relatively, not always, but relatively in a good spot. I like the summoning mechanics for Yu-Gi-Oh, and I've always just enjoyed it.
I fell off right after Arc 5. I won't even lie.
Shit, at least you got to Arc 5. The only people I've heard that like talked about Yu-Gi-Oh, and they're like, oh, I never watched anything past the original. Everything else sucks. And I'm like, but you never watched any of them past the original. Well, yeah, but like, I just know that they're trash.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I wish I had that kind of foresight.
I hate those kinds. I at least played for a little while. I'm one of those, I get my buddies call me a cheeser because I play a super heavy samurai deck, and that's like my main. That's my absolute go-to, and they'll be like, God,
Super Heavy Samurais.
Oh, I piss them off because they've yet to beat it, and they get pissed off because it's I'm one of those. I've played for a long time. I know how to play, but I pick the same thing and I just do something entirely different each time, and it completely fucks with them.
That's funny. Well, and that's the thing too is like, the same argument's always like, well, all you do is you build like 20 negates, and then you don't let your other person play, and I'm like. If you're really struggling that bad, that means you have a bad deck and you need to learn how to play the game better. Like if I'm playing a game like, let's say, actually, let's go with Overwatch, right? And I am getting absolutely demolished in Overwatch over and over and over because I am using Genji and not using any of his abilities. Whose fault is that? Like, that is yours. And so it's like, they always was like, well, the game was better a long time ago. I'm like, it's like, you mean by like better when you just set 5 cards down and just pass turn?
I like those days.
Yeah, do you remember those days? Because I remember those days. Like, I was like, those days weren't fun.
Oh, I had fun with them. I did. I won't even lie, because I do something stupid, set down 5 cards. Because whenever we play, I build one, I meme. So I built a spell and trap card only deck. And I'd play against them. And the moment they realize I play 5 cards down, oh, fuck. Shenanigans that happen.
So something real funny is I remember I was playing, I think it was Dueling Book or Dueling Network when it was a long time ago. And I had it was a UA deck. which I don't know if you know what those are.
I was thinking of FA, but that's I
Okay,
don't know
yeah.
UA.
The UA, there was the ones that came before. They were all the sports ones, like baseball,
Yeah,
basketball.
yeah,
Yeah, they were all those. Y'all doing good? Yeah, we good, man. This is
yeah.
a guy that goes by Voices on Demand. Fantastic guy, by the way. Definitely give him a follow. He's good stuff.
Can do.
Uh,
Right. Let me add it to my super notes.
and he ooh, you guys hear that Voices? You hit the super notes. But yeah, they're really fun. But I put in Jinzo at the same time because that deck is pretty fragile and struggles with any kind of back row removal. So I dropped Jinzo, and the guy comments, "Yeah, you won." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "What?" And he's like, so he starts, using the clicking the buttons or whatever, and he's dumping all his cards. He's like, "Yeah, this deck is just all traps." He's like, "I wasn't expecting a Jinzo."
Yeah, you use some of those. Like I also did that, and I have a completely trap card deck, which they once figured out, and they play with always now all of them. Even if it completely messes with everything, they'll always play with the Jinzo just
Well,
against it.
and that's funny because like I played like a Altergeist, right? Which is, if you know what that is.
I do. I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of them.
I used to play Altergeist all the time, and I loved it. It's kind of too slow now. But holy shit, that's the Kingdom Key. But
Yeah, did you? You've at least seen the Buster. Have you at least seen the Buster Sword sitting here too?
Oh yeah, no, my brain is just like, also I don't have my glasses on, but like it just
also Guts' sword right in between the racks.
Well, Guts' sword is great. Guts' sword is amazing. Is that a trident?
5 points. Yeah, I got it at a yard sale for $5 inside an Adwile helmet.
Oh fuck it. Okay.
You also can't see it very well. It blends in right there's another Keyblade. It's Oblivion.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I just I don't know why, but my brain just did not register it. But I like as I was playing Altergeist, and it was fun. Like I definitely enjoyed playing it. I played against a because I don't know if people realize a real back and forth duel can be so mentally exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing against, it was a match against Zodiacs when that was around. Which they were, based on your face, you know exactly what they bring.
Because like I do super heavy, so a lot of my strategies take monsters with levels, and those bitches don't have levels.
Oh yeah, and so as I'm playing it, it's just a back and forth. We are like, tit for tat, back and forth. Everyone, and by the time I got done, my friend was next to me watching me. I just sat back and I was like, bro, I need to go to bed. Like I was so drained. Like that's why I do. I'll give props to those who do like the big tournaments, because that is a mental fortitude that I just do not have.
Yeah,
like to sit there and steal up for that, because after a while it gets like I used to play Fluffles. Hey, shut up! I love Fluffles.
Like, I'm gonna make fun of you. You're like those fright fur people. You're one of those kind of people.
Hey, I like Five Nights. Okay, like, don't make fun of me.
You know what? You like Vaporeon too. It makes sense now.
So I was playing Fluffles, and I ended up I could not like just one shot him, right? So the duel is just dragging on and on. He's blowing up monsters of mine. It's not looking good. So it got to the point where I'm just not even fusion summoning anymore. I'm just summoning monsters just to like poke. Because I'm like, I can't afford this, man. Like, you're starting to piss me off.
I had one like that. It was a Thunder Dragon deck. That was to this day is one of my favorites because it was one of those back and forth, tit for tat kind of things. He'd do something that put me on edge and be like, shit, okay, I do something to put him on edge. He has Thunder Dragon Colossus, the one that, like, if any ability activates, destroy a monster on the field. And I kept that one constantly flipped over the entire game. And the one moment he finally flipped it up, I was able to take over, Battle Ball that lets me take your monster and synchro with it. And I knew he was pissed because it was maybe 30 minutes of duel. That may not be that much, but it was probably 30 turns just back and forth. Finally flipped over. He had no monsters to activate. And I was like, okay, this is it. This is the final turn. I'm fucked if not. Oh yeah. Ding.
See, that's just like it feels like such a good moment when you get that. When you get that one out, and you're just like, oh, we got this. Like reminds me of that Kronk where he's like, oh yeah, it's all coming together.
God. Oh man, I miss Yu-Gi-Oh. I need to go back and play Master Duel again. It's been a few months I've played.
I didn't really play Master Duel because I've been playing Dueling Nexus. So it's kind of the same. Just I know it doesn't have all the fancy bells and whistles, but I get all the cards a lot faster. And like so example, Mermail just got a bunch of support.
Yeah.
Like I was surprised. Mermail Atlanteans, bunch of support. So I was like, okay, this is dope. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna, test it out because holy guacamole, Mermail just don't stop running. Like it's the version of just keep swimming and it just keeps on going. Like, oh, you hand trap me? Okay. Like although that I'm not gonna lie, the deck does lose really hard to a Nibiru. But like
there's a lot of these that work well. Like there's so much of everything.
That's all.
I love Yu-Gi-Oh. That's all it comes down to. I do love I played Master Duel for a while, and that's where I started learning more of the stuff like what are they? Phantom Knights. First time ever playing a meta deck. And God, I was like, man, this deck's so powerful. I wonder why nobody uses it. Google it. Oh shit, it's like the third best deck in existence. Huh.
Man, Phantom Knights were great. I loved Phantom Knights.
Like, I had a lot of shenanigans with it, and I loved because I'd have something. It was one of the Xyz dragons that could like take over all the attack of every monster on the field.
Okay, I know you're talking about.
That's what I'd constantly do with my buddies. Is I'd make it where they couldn't do anything because it's some like Necro Valley card. They have to send a card to the graveyard if they attack. But at the exact same time, I have a card that all cards get banished instead, so he couldn't attack.
Don't they? Phantom Knights. They go to the. Yeah, when they get banished, they come back, don't they?
Pretty much, yeah. Like they're bouncing all over the place. So even if they get banished, I can still use them.
Oof,
but my strategy was one of the best ones was I would load up their side of the field with beaters, all sorts of attack point beaters, like Acid Golem, fucking Slime Golem with the 3000s, or the Egyptian God Slime, all these big 3,000-4,000 attack point monsters. It's like, hey, what are you doing? Well, if I ever destroy this card, you're gonna lose. Oh. I ain't losing, bitch. And I pull out this card, gets fucking 48,000 attack. It's like, hey, please no. Oh,
yeah. See, I think that what makes me laugh is okay. So there was a moment where I was watching these people talk about how to make the God cards better.
Oh yeah,
right? Well, you gotta make the God cards better. I'm like, I agree to an extent. I'm not a big fan of the God cards, so it's never really bothered me. But I was like, okay, sure, why not? And the guy was like, well, they should make them just like the anime, and I'm like, no.
Especially Raw, there's like 8,000 abilities that Raw does.
Right.
And I don't want that. I don't want them to get, and don't get me wrong, it'd be fun for the original OG cards to come back and be the strongest things in existence like they once were. But at the exact same time, I want to be able to read my card.
Oh yeah, and that's most Yu-Gi-Oh players can't read anyways. But like just like, but like it's crazy to me because it's just like they were like, well, we should make it just like I'm like, first of all, the big problem is y'all want these cards. Oh, so I'll be able to have my best deck and stuff. Here's the thing: all those big cards, if they made it, would be sold out because those big Yu-Gi-Oh players would just buy them all.
Right.
So they buy them all and then sell them back to you for double the price that they're worth. And then you mad because now you can't buy one.
Who would ever spend a ludicrous amount of money on something that doesn't need to be bought ludicrously?
I don't know. Fucking weirdos.
So I've certainly never done that. I certainly don't have anything back there that was a shit ton of money, and it did.
But like I always said, like the reason why, like, and also the reason why I stopped buying the Yu-Gi-Oh cards is one, like there's not a really much of a place for me, like for Yu-Gi-Oh over where I live. I haven't found any real Yu-Gi-Oh players at all, so it's just kind of like whatever. And then on top of that too, I just was like, I wasn't as interested enough to go spend like a bunch of money. Like, sure, I have like the Alter Guys cards or something like that, but like those are after years, and I'm just fine with keeping them. Prank Kids are the other ones that I was using too, which were pretty fun. Now if they could just get their fucking Link 1 back, but they won't give them back. They're not going to. It makes me sad. Yeah, gives me the big sad.
I'm sick of my super heavies. That and my random ass Buster Blader, Red Dragon Archfiend, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon combo deck.
Oh my god.
Yes, it works. Not like it sort of works.
There it is.
Here's the thing. It's one of those weird ones. You look at it as an outward person who's never looked at it. It's like, this deck doesn't fucking work at all. But if you know how it works, god damn, do you have no idea what the fuck's going to happen next? Am I going to go into a Blue Eyes? Am I going to go into Raviel? Am I going to go into Buster Blader? Am I going to go into Superconductor Tyranno? Who knows?
Oh my god. Like, it just, yeah, and that's the thing I'll say is a big smorgasbord of different cards. Like, I can't, like, I'm one of those like I gotta fit to, like, my archetype, or at least try to find a way to combine them somewhat. I think it's easier with like Magic than it is with Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah,
but it's so much easier with Magic.
I had a lot of fun doing it, like, especially because I started finding newer ones. I've got access to the internet. Then it became so much worse. You know how many stupid fucking cards I have in there that legit I should have no access to?
I can only. That's how I felt. I'm not gonna lie, that's how I felt with Elden Ring. Once I realized, I'm like, oh, I can punch people, I can freeze them, like I can make a giant moon out of nothing and hit the. It's actually not as strong as you think it is, but like it's just like.
Hey, it doesn't matter if that's what you enjoy. Like, I beat the first time I played it. It was the Stormbale Knights, I think it's what they are. Those little, like, normal base, the Goldrick soldiers. That's what it is. I beat the game with a Goldrick sword. Like, I just maxed out, and that was my first weapon. I was like, I had so much fun with it. Hey, bleed, frenzy. What's that? I have a sword.
Well, it's funny. Okay, so I always talk about this moment because, like, I get scared of video games at times. Like certain areas might like actually like scare me.
Okay.
And like. So like it was when we get to Karya's Manor, right? Because I want to go find Ronnie and the finger creepers.
Yeah, those little fucks were.
Oh my god! Like I'm just sitting there, see, and like my hands won't move. My controller is sitting there, like I got my controller, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like this. I'm like, I can't move. I like, and he's like, my friend's like, are you all right? I'm like, I'm fine.
Hands, they don't put on lotion. They don't lotion enough. I can see the wrinkles.
They don't have enough lotion. Like you just start like, it's like, what is that? A lotion bomb. And so I just got to the point where like now it's like they're no big deal. But then I got to the DLC, right? Because
you're talking about the fucking the ball head.
No, not the ball heads, like the hand creature things. Before I got to the DLC, the ball heads are the.
I'm thinking of the DLC. I thought you had said you got when you got the DLC. I'm thinking of the ones that you can't summon this torrent with. Torrent?
Oh no, the madness ones or whatever.
Yeah, and then
that was scary.
Yeah, that I like those kind of things because you couldn't beat them until somebody figured out you could parry them.
Yeah. Once you learned you could parry them, but like I was just like I'm sitting like, please don't kill me. It's like running back and forth. Yeah, that was terrifying. I will admit though, the lands were like, like when you go to like the desert area and there's just fingers everywhere, and I'm like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm not liking it.
See, that's why I'll give Elden Ring credit. It's cool. I like exploring the world, and that's something I'm never gonna deny. It's fun to just go through all that.
Well, yeah, so you find one of those big fucking tree sentinels.
The rune bears are what I was more afraid of, and you just hear them in the fucking woods.
You
look out in the distance, like slightly at render distance, you can just see it's like, oh no, the bear.
I remember the one, the first time I played it, and I was like, there's like one of those dudes who are just standing there, and I go up and I swing, and they turn into, and I'm like, is that a fucking rune bear? Oh, those guys scared the hell out of me.
You want me to get back to Final Fantasy VII now?
Yeah. Let's get back to Final Fantasy VII because I wanna hear about this.
All right, so you know what? Where's my stuff? Hold on, I'm one of those people. I gotta have the thing in hand.
Okay.
Here they are. All right, so remake. Great game. It's honestly a really fun game. I like the combat in it. The story, as they start adding in, has some issues here and there that I will not deny. They add in, because you at least know Sephiroth's the big villain of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
They added him in a little too early in remake, in my opinion. I think it hasn't come through fluently enough for me to be like, it's worth it. Because he's essentially introduced in the first hour and a half of the game. Whereas in the original, he's mentioned in the first hour and a half in the game. When you reach the first, final, end of this, essentially, the end of the first 4 or 5 hours,
Mhm.
he's finally talked about as, hey, he might still be around. And then way later, he's finally introduced as like, yes, he's still around.
Okay.
This one here, they kind of have like a crazy thing going on with Cloud that makes him appear just a little too frequently, in my opinion. I'm not hating it, but at least compared to the original, it just showed up way too early. So it takes away some of the like, ooh, what's going to happen kind of thing.
So is so it sounds like in your view, he loses a little bit of the mystery.
Right, 100%. Because, you know, 7's back there. I'm not going to get it. But the first like essentially 6 or 7 hours of this, you really don't know. Like Sephiroth's just a name. Like, oh wait, we're kind of following his trail, but what more is there outside of the trail? You don't know a whole lot about it. And then you add into it, it takes away some of the mystery, which does kind of disappoint me because it's like, here's a big threat. Oh, because Final Fantasy has a big thing of not always knowing the threat right out of the gate.
Okay.
Like, I don't know how many Final Fantasies you've ever played. If any. Which ones?
13 and 16.
You know what? That's entirely fair. And because you know what? You don't know who the real villain is until way later in the game. Like
Right.
Bartandalus. You don't know Bartandalus until maybe 10 hours in.
Mm-hmm.
Then 16, you don't know Ultima until way later. And this one here is the first hour and a half. Like Final Fantasies have the thing of building up the villains, like what the villain's going to be. This one here adds it in a little early. Combat is fun. I like the gameplay in this because it's really fun. I got really good at it. I didn't like it at first, but then it really grew on me. The ATB with the action combat. It's like 16. So I think Final Fantasy 16 is very similar.
Okay.
And I have a lot of fun as it goes on. Story, I think, is done still superb because it's adding in so much more. As opposed to, it's 4 hours into 40 hours.
Oh, damn.
They can add a whole lot more to it, which I'm okay with. Some parts drag on. I'm not going to lie. It's unnecessary, but you know what? It's one of those, like, it's an okay kind of unnecessary. It's just cool to see a little more lore here and there. And I'm not going to go too deep into it. If you ever do play it, I don't want to spoil it for you because I could absolutely start blabbering way too much on it.
That's all good. That's all good. I'm not spoilers don't bother me. So for anybody else, if you spoil heavy, now's the time to dip.
Oh man! Oh boy!
5, 4, 3, 2, go.
The story doesn't make sense right now. So of course, if you know what you're doing, everything makes a lot of sense because you like right now at the end of Rebirth, they've just started dealing with the black materia. The black materia is basically the end all be all. I'm gonna kill everything with it. And it's really weird in how things are kind of being introduced in it because they're ending it in a third part. A lot of things are being built up with a third part, but not ended here. Like this here, it has a character named Leslie. You see early-ish on, maybe a third of the way through, that kind of has a little bit of prominence, has his own little story arc going on. But then you never see him again after he's done in this one. Like I haven't seen him in the sequel game. I'm hoping he comes back in the third one. Otherwise, he's just a point that has nothing to it.
Okay.
This game is the biggest issue I would say with it is it adds a lot more unnecessarily, and it can sometimes drag on. Whereas like a Rebirth here, there's a section in there. One of the characters. Do you know the characters at least? So if I
like I know like Cloud, Tifa, Aerith,
Red,
Red,
the dog.
Oh yeah, Red.
Okay.
He talks.
Yeah.
He got a big old majestic voice.
So this one here has a story arc in there where he goes back to his hometown that adds, he goes to his home basically like a pilgrimage kind of thing. It's the easiest way to say it's a pilgrimage thing. Is he ready to protect his home or is he not? They then add in new lore, which I'm not a fan of. And I feel like that's where I was like really started adding in just to add in stuff. And I've since went and played back in. That's 100% what these remakes are doing. In my opinion, is they're adding stuff in just to add world building. I think it was you talked Mirror's Edge Catalyst had that. Those are adding world building just to have world building. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't do well right now. Like this one here. Did you know there's Yu-Gi-Oh! In Rebirth? It's not Rebirth, but if it's not Rebirth, it's not Yu-Gi-Oh! But it's damn near. It's called Queen's Blood. Basically, you want to get as many points added up in a like 3x5. 3x6, 3x7 board. Okay. And it's like you feel like you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it starts getting, the darkness of the other world. These cards are calling me.
That sounds interesting. Actually,
it's cool.
Like a mini game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of it's you have a point in the game you can play it mainstream, but you don't have to. But it's a full on Queen's Blood's fun. I do enjoy the game. And that's the game in there. But like remake itself, between both of these, it's definitely worth a play. Like for future things, especially when the part 3 comes out and you can play the entire trilogy, it's 100% going to be worth it. But it's not worth it now, in my opinion, to get because here's 4 hours, here's 10 hours. What about the other 22 hours? Man, you're just going to have to wait.
So you think they're going to put it in 3 sets then, or 4?
They'd confirmed it's only 3 parts.
Huh.
Which my dad, he 7 fan over there, and he and I have talked about it more than once. We're kind of concerned on how part 3 is gonna go because there is still so much shit to be covered.
What worries me a little bit is that it's going to turn into a lot of DLC.
Honestly, there really hasn't been too much. This one here had one following one of the characters, Yuffie, the little ninja.
Yeah.
And that's the only DLC this one got because it's just kind of her story building up and how she meets the main crew, kind of, sort of.
Okay.
As of right now, Rebirth has not talked about any sort of DLC. I can see some, but I don't see it getting any DLC. So it's a lot of it is just in the game of just like extra stuff.
Oh.
And it's cool because this also ties into Final Fantasy IV. Because there's in Rebirth Gilgamesh. I'm sure you at least know Gilgamesh through some of the stuff.
I believe so.
Man of many swords.
Oh, okay.
He fights in Final Fantasy IV. Bart's, I believe, is 4 or 5, and he's a time traveler, dimension hopper, something like that. And you see him in Rebirth, and he talks about the great soldier.
I'm gonna go check here. Gilgamesh, right?
Yeah. So back to the whole thing. All of it's worth it. It's definitely a hell of a fucking story. Getting added more to it. It kind of it touches on a lot of different things. Rebirth is definitely better than Remake. I put more hours in a Remake just because it's been out longer. But both of them are fantastic games that are adding such greatness to the story that I think it is 100% going to outdo the original, probably beat for fucking beat.
Damn.
And I'm saying this I know some 7 fans out there don't agree, but everybody hates on something just to hate on something. We talked about that earlier. It's a beautiful journey that's getting so much added into it that I want to see how it ends. But it's also one of those things of I hate that it got split into thirds. So I'm one of those people. Just wait and play it when it all comes out at once, because there's going to be some Ultimate Collector's Edition, the Final Fantasy VII collection package.
Yeah, I can see that. And also, I mean, it does sound pretty elaborate. Like, I'll definitely go check it out. Is it because I believe? Okay, so this is my big question. Final Fantasy VII was a turn-based game, right?
Yes.
Is it still turn-based?
Not really. So they have the action combat, but there's also a thing in there called turn-based mode, classic mode. So what it is, your character will do a sword swipes, attacks, and all that stuff, essentially like autopilot. But as it builds up, you have your like ATB gauge, lets you use magic items or special abilities. That's what you do as the turn-based aspect. You
so
just
is it kind of like 13s then? Combat?
Close to it, but the characters will attack on their own.
Oh, okay.
It's a weird way to explain it, but it's basically they'll attack on their own. You can use their special abilities by choice.
Okay.
And it just eats up the ATB while they're doing their other stuff. Combat's fun. Again, it's all sorts of fun. I've really enjoyed it after playing it for 4 years now.
Right. That's interesting. See, I'm gonna have to really get into it because I've just been putting it off. There's been so many different games between. Well, I have my comfort game, which is NCAA, but then like I'm going back through Ghost of Tsushima again because with the Ghost of Yotai, I was like, okay, well, I feel like I should. Borderlands 3, The Ring, Onion Ring, like Mirror's Edge, Super Mario 64. Like, I have such a backlog right now.
Yeah, I hear that. I 100% hear that entirely. Like, I have, not even counting the new games that have been coming out, I have too much of a backlog.
No. Absolutely. That's why, like, I had a friend of mine was like, well, you're going to go get the new Call of Duty. And then I was like, no. Because that's like 260 some gigabytes.
I have a buddy who was asking that too. At like the worst possible time, because Black Ops came out between Life is Strange coming out next Tuesday, I'm taking a day off work Wednesday so I can play through the whole game. It'll
Do
be
it.
nice. I did it for Silent Hill 2. Then you had Epic Mickey I did it with. I might do the same for Slitterhead. Quiet
Okay,
Place.
I've never played Epic Mickey.
This is my first time playing it. I never got to play it when I was younger, but it's a weirdly nostalgic game. That's all sorts of fun.
Interesting. I guess when you think about it, it will put you in like a you could use that word nostalgic. Because certain games do kind of get me into that, oh shit, I remember this feel.
That's what I was saying, is it's weirdly, because I didn't get to play it, but you play it, it's like, oh man, I remember this. And it's probably because you get to traverse through some of the original cartoons like Steamboat Willie, What a Night, and all those things. So you get to see a little bit of that, and that's probably where it all comes from. But I say it's weirdly nostalgic for something I've never touched. It's like, oh my god, I feel like I've already played this.
That's how I feel with Super Mario Galaxy. Like whenever I I'll watch people play it, and it opens up and it's like the music gets blows up and stuff, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it hits you right in that core. And there's something about the nostalgia when it comes to games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use Ratchet and Clank for example. It's, for me, honestly, the big thing, it's the music. Because that music, I'm not gonna lie, the music for Ratchet and Clank is super fire.
Yeah.
So going and listening to it like Rilgar or Blackwater City or whatever, and listening to any of those, and I'm just like, oh yeah, just like I do. I go jamming out. I miss it. So I miss that kind of era of gaming.
Yeah, one of my friends, he's a big fan on these kind of things. Music's his big, he says he's a gamer, but then he'll focus a lot more on the music. Like Sea of Stars. I don't know if you got to play that one last year.
I have it. I just have not finished it.
How point are you at?
The one boy finally came with me, so just starting.
Oh, Garl, you're way early.
Yeah, I'm way early.
It's a good game. It has some issues later on, which I'm not going to talk about. I want you to experience it, and then I can come back on. I can bitch about it because I definitely bitch about it.
I will 100% have you on just to go and just start bitch. We'll just have a whole it'll be like a gaming bitch session.
Dude, I don't think you understand how much I can bitch about just random ass shit.
Bro, that's like half of my podcast is me just bitching about random ass shit.
Oh man, good. Let me just pull out what's a random ass game to bitch about.
I don't know. Find me a random ass game to bitch about.
Silent Hill Origins on the PSP. This is a random ass game to bitch about.
Random ass game to bitch about. You got the spotlight. Go.
Oh man, so Silent Hill Origins, I like it, but by fuck is it not a good Silent Hill game because it doesn't do a whole lot with it. It does puzzles, not in a good way, and it's just a little too combat oriented. I like the story because it builds the lore for the rest of Silent Hill, but fuck, does this game not match anything because this was made 15 years after, or not 15, maybe 10 or so years after the original, so it changes and retcons stuff, which doesn't make sense. So yeah, there we go. There's 1 minute bitch.
All right, I got another one for you here. Kingdom Hearts.
What about it?
Can you bitch about it?
Oh, 100%.
Hear it.
Story is so I'll defend it and I'll bitch about it too. Its story is convoluted as all fucking get out. I don't know. Have you ever played it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you understand the story is convoluted as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But at the exact same time, if you play it, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those ones I played 2.8. My parents got it for me on Christmas, whatever year it came out, and I played it. And for a weird reason, I was sitting there doing something with Aqua and the Realm of Darkness, and so the whole story just randomly clicked. It's like that one shift; it just finally shifted into place. Everything made sense. It all makes perfect sense. The story is convoluted as fuck. It shouldn't take. What are we at? A dozen games, 13 games to tell one singular story in this kind of manner, following mobile games. I was
gonna say mobile games. That's fucking crazy. I was when I was playing 3, right? And then all of a sudden, all the Keyblades are flying in, and I'm like, oh, those are all from the mobile games. And I'm like,
Union X. I played that when it first came. I loved that game. I had a lot of fun with that one.
Oh, I don't think it'd probably be bad. Oh no. I don't think that.
Here's how much I liked it. I jailbroke my phone so I could play the Japanese version. Had no fucking clue what was going on. But I was like, yes, I'm playing Kingdom Hearts. It's great. Then it came over here to America, and I played it for probably a solid 2 years. Then it got shut down. So now if you go download it, it's just the cutscenes for the lore, which is a damn shame.
Oh, it's fucking lame. Well, that's
Then
what like I liked with 2, but 3 when I played 3 because I bitched about 3 before, and I said my biggest bitch about it is the fact that it's almost too easy. And like
Mhm.
the big thing I wish you could have kind of taken away some of the things like the attractions. I would take the attractions out. I have a lot more fun when the attractions are not in. Yes,
you
I can choose like they were fun at first because I was like, oh, that's the ship. I know it. Oh, that's the teacups. I know it. Oh, that's Splash Mountain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
But
think
the
whenever they came up with the critical update, you could actually turn them off.
yeah, but that's the thing that sucked is I could only do it off critical.
Yeah.
If I could just take them off, period, that'd be fine. Because then I'm like, okay, I can go play on normal or hard or whatever before I get to critical mode, and just because I like those are one of those games that I love them, but those are the type of games that I'm like, I'm not gonna go play on usually the hardest difficulty
Right.
because I've seen it, I've watched Kingdom Hearts on the hardest difficulty. My ADHD, it's fast, but I ain't that fast. Like,
It's definitely a challenge because I played it when it came out, the critical version of it, and I had fun, but I already because they had the new game plus, so I went through with my ultimate weapon and I was just kicking ass with there, and I had a lot of fun with it. I didn't go do the remind in critical because I wasn't that fucking stupid, especially seeing the data organization fights. They kicked my ass for like a solid week on
oh yeah,
normal.
no, and that's the thing. That's how it was with when I did the DLC for Elden Ring, right? First place, I'm like, oh, it's an Everjail. All right, let's go. Yo, what the fuck, man?
The
I just
random difficulty spikes just sometimes kick your
like I
ass.
just got here, like, because that's one thing I love about that version is with the DLC, one of the things they do is a little bit different is they don't always give you time to set up.
Mm-hmm.
So like all of a sudden they just start charging and I'm like, wait.
That's one thing I remember seeing people gripe about because the original they'd give you that second to kind of like load in, but now they don't have it and they just come charging at you. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's more realistic. They're ready to kill you.
Oh yeah, and sometimes okay, so one of them was the character's name was like Jory, I think it was, and Jori, and I walked into the through the gates or whatever, little like yellow fog mist. I walk into the fog mist and there's like a ring of yellow light that's already on its way to me. I'm like, bro, did you just set this up here? Like I was like, yo, slow down. So there's me ducking, like trying to get like my mimic tear out. And I'm like, mimic, help! Like as I'm hiding behind like a literal like gravestone from this, and I'm like, oh my god, get out here! I'm gonna die.
Yeah, I one and done with Elden Ring. That's enough for me.
I just keep going to try to find like different fun ways to fucking just start playing it. Like right now, I'm doing like a strength and arcane build because I was like, I could have fire, lots of fire.
My buddy plays it. Him and his wife are playing it right now. I say right now they had a kid recently, so I don't know how fervently they've been playing.
The kid's now playing it too. Oh my god!
Man, that's a whole different kind of. They were playing Texas Chainsaw Massacre with a kid in their lap, and it's like this is horrible parenting. Don't sit. The kid's not even a month old, and you're sitting here playing like bloody fucking murder in front of him.
Don't worry, buddy. This is in Texas, not.
So I told him, here's what's going to happen: is I'm going to get his son on his first birthday a pyramid head plushie. Since these kids could
head plushie.
Yes, there's some out there. Since your kid's gonna be raised on fucking horror and blood and viscera, I might as well get him. So I'll be like, oh, Dad, look, this is my sins made into one thing. Little 5-year-old walking around. This is my sins.
Dude, I love Pyramid Head though. Even though I'm not gonna lie, like when I look at like the Silent Hill, because I don't know much about Silent Hill. I know like my friend kept going and he was fighting these like they looked like these monsters that had like legs for arms and they were like
mannequins.
Yeah, and he's like, he called them Leg Tyson. He's like, why? I'm like, because they keep beating me, and I'm like, oh, okay, damn.
The original or
the remake one?
Oh yeah, dude, the remake ones are so fucking hilarious because the mannequins will go and hide from you.
Oh no, sir.
And you're like around a corner, and though you could see them, it's funny because you'll see them running in the distance. And the way that I saw it in like the near end of the game, and it finally clicked. They look like somebody who got out of the shower and forgot their towel and is quickly running across to grab a towel without being seen. And you see them, they're like, huh, and they'll go hide in like stupidest place. Like I saw a meme of like. It was hiding behind a lamppost, but you can definitely see the person sitting there. They'll like hide underneath a table, but there'll be a table that you can see underneath it, so you're just looking straight at them. or they'll hide around a corner, and you'll just see them just peeking out.
That gives me the vibe. That gives me the vibes of like I think it's from Scary Movie 3 when the phone killer is like, "I'm in your house," and he's like, "I can see you," and he's like, "Oh, okay, now I'm somewhere in your house." And she starts freaking out. Like it just, I do like horror games. I'm not gonna lie, I do like horror games. I'm probably a really good person to probably play them because I do jump scare fairly easily to them. But I know for a fact, like for example, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go play Final Fantasy 7, right? Or not Fantasy, Resident Evil 7."
Yeah,
and the whole time I was like, "Bro, this is fucking nuts." And I was like, I ended up in this house, and then Daddy all of a sudden got pissed at me, and I'm like, and now he wants to kill me, and I don't know why. And so like I'm running from him, and I'm like, this is like, it was freaking nuts. Like my heart was pounding. And then I met these tar monsters in the basement.
imagine playing it in VR. It gets even more fun.
No, I tried playing Five Nights at Freddy's in VR.
Oh, the Help Wanted.
Yep.
I have it back there. It's fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Nope. Won't do it.
I'm a masochist because I'll literally sit and play a horror game and then go to bed 5 minutes later.
Oh damn. Yeah, I would have been like that first day that I was there. I would have like taken a little like, was sitting there being like, all right, they're not gonna get in my room. As soon as I see one move, I'm dipping out of that house, out of that fucking pizzeria. I'm like, I don't need the job this bad.
My kid's surgery can wait for another day. He doesn't need it.
What's that?
It's a joke my buddy said he made of like he's a dad. He's a struggling dad. It's not the lore, but he's a struggling dad going here so he can support his child's surgery. He's like, yeah, he doesn't need. He can get surgery another day. He can live.
Oh, exactly.
He can live another week.
You best believe that I am full ass sprinting out. As soon as I hear this, like, dub, 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 dub. No, I'm gone. Like,
I like Five Nights at Freddy's. I had a lot of fun growing up with that one.
Oh, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, by the time it came out, what was that, 2013, 2014?
I want to say 12 or 13.
Okay, yeah, it's like, obviously I'm already an adult by that time, and I was like, okay, good. I'm like, okay, this isn't that bad, right? I was like, this is kind of cool looking. I like the lore for it. Let's go see what this is all about. And I got so engrossed into it. I really did. I like between 1, 2, 3, 4, security breach, help wanted. There's so much to it.
Yeah.
The movie wasn't terrible. I don't think it's good, but it wasn't terrible either. I don't know if you've seen the movie or not.
Oh yeah, but my buddy ended up, I guess, he pirated it and let the whole Discord watch it. I liked it. I had a lot of fun watching. I want to see the second one.
Yeah, I'm going to see the second one. I didn't think it was that bad. Matthew Lillard as like William. It's funny because like I'm like, oh, that's William Afton. He couldn't, but it's Matthew Lillard, so I can't be mad.
My dad knew he was going to be the villain because he was the biggest name in there besides what's his name, the main character.
Oh
what's
yeah.
his name? I can't remember his actor.
Yeah, I can't either.
But he said he's the biggest one outside of it, and says like he paused like halfway through the movie. Is Matthew Lillard going to come back and try and kill everybody? Makes you say that, Dad. Well, he's the biggest name in here, and he's been shown for 5 minutes.
Well, and I love how like the female cop that helps him, and I'm just like, do you have nowhere else to be? Like, I'm like, you suspended every single day as an officer. I think it would have been more interesting to find out that she's actually not an officer at all.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, like she's actually faking it. I can, because I mean, if the games keep going, this one obviously focusing on the pizzeria, which is going to be kind of weird because if I remember right, the pizzeria for FNAF 2 is a prequel to the first one.
Yeah, the lore gets really weird because it goes like 4, 2, sister location, then 1. Something
yeah,
like
because 4 is the bite of 87. 2
is it? I thought that one was 83. Because there's a bite of 83. Mango caused the bite of 87, which is what caused her to go crazy. 1 happened, and then the not security breach. 3 happens like 20-ish years later.
Yeah, 3 happens 20-ish years later, which is also still a good one. But it's weird because that one I like it for the environment and all that stuff. Like the
Mhm.
atmosphere I thought was really cool. Only one animatronic was also kind of terrifying too.
Yeah. I've never played it. Actually, my buddy and I did a ranking of this a while back, and I would say a 4 is my favorite outside of the original 4. Sister Location is my absolute favorite. 4 is the best. I like the atmosphere the most.
I think the atmosphere for Sister Location is definitely cool. Um, I like Sister Location's atmosphere. I think the mini games themselves. This is the game that should have been more open world.
Mm-hmm.
Was Sister Location. Don't get me wrong, Security Breach isn't bad. It's very unique, but like I don't have it very high on my list. Even with Ruin, I still don't have it very high on my list. Um, but there's a lot that they need to discuss because they're doing another one called Secret of the Mimic.
I'm excited for that one. I'm
That
genuinely
one looks good. With was it Jackie, the new clown, or whatever, along with Into the Pit was one I had to watch that gameplay for that one.
I've yet to play that one. Apparently, that one follows the books, apparently, more so than the games.
Yeah,
Which is...
where the kid goes back, or the dude goes back in time, which is already kind of horrifying when you think about it.
And then the horror comes to the future too, which is great.
Yep. Like, they could have really just stopped all of it. They just got rid of William Afton.
But he always comes back. You can't get rid of that.
Not if you just keep him in a coma.
I remember he comes back in a techie world as Glitch Trap.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Yeah.
There's no stopping Afton.
He's actually in a video game too, and I'm like, yo, this is insane. It's like I kind of start feeling bad for these. Like, there's did you? Oh, by the way, I know we're almost out of time here. Before, did you see the glitched attraction?
Probably not.
Okay, so a bunch of dudes made it. It's like a fan based game, but like imagine it's like a person going through and like this glitched attraction thing, and they're all like escape rooms.
Okay. Yeah, I have seen this once.
Yeah. I thought that was incredibly well done.
A lot of these, I've found Five Nights at Freddy's fan games are arguably better than the mainline games.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. It's quite great. And I love is that Scott Cawthon is the type of person that wants to see what people can do. Like, I actually really respect that. I respect that he likes seeing what people can create. Because he could easily be like Nintendo and be like, no, you ain't using none of my stuff.
I'm gonna patent this. Is my idea now.
Right. You see those little warp pipes? Those are mine. Sorry, Flappy Bird. But no, I enjoyed it and I respect him for that. Like, it's cool to see how I don't think anyone to me what I said was it's like this generation's Goosebumps.
I can see that. I 100% can agree with that. It's kind of a cult classic kind of thing that's just going to keep going on until people are like, please just stop. It's horrible.
Oh yeah, and right now it's still on that train. Like, it ain't stopping anytime soon.
That with like Poppy Playtime, Garden of Ban. All these here are like becoming the big.
Wait, what is that?
Garden of which one?
Poppy Playtime
and Garden of Ban.
Never heard of Garden of Bam Bam.
It's so what it is basically, I think I don't know a lot about it because the game's not fully done, but the first episode's free. You are like a mother trying to find your child or something like that. You have to go to this place. It's essentially like a super daycare with these super friendly, colorful monsters that used to be good, but then something happened and they've kind of started going crazy and trying to kill people.
Okay. Let me go check real quick here.
It's interesting. It's one of those lore building ones. It's essentially like Poppy Playtime. First episode is free. Yeah.
Oh.
There's like 7 or 8 games out right now. Okay. All telling the same thing. It's like
I'll have to check that out. I know the other one was like Amanda the Adventurer was one that was a horror.
Yeah, the second one's out, which I'm debating on going to play.
Yeah, I've watched. I usually watch them play. Watch the first one. Watch the second one. I want to watch the second one. But yeah, I just enjoy like the little horror ones. I mean, there's been a couple real flops. Hello Neighbor, but like
I liked Hello Neighbor.
I don't hate Hello Neighbor. I think what happens is that sometimes like with Hello Neighbor, they tried so hard to get people, like especially like Game Theory, because I know if Game Theory watches your stuff, it's gonna go up like crazy. So they were trying to hint, hey, Game Theory, check this out. Hey, check this out. And eventually it's like, yo, it doesn't feel like you're making a game anymore. Like, you got to do better.
I can agree with that. Here's a fun one if you like the old school retro. It's called Crow Country.
Crow Country.
There was a guy a while back who did like a little test thing. It's very reminiscent of like old PS1 horror, if that's the kind of thing you're into.
Oh, okay.
I almost got to be one of the test people, but I never responded. I forgot to respond.
Damn. Oh, it would have been cool though. Oh, it looks pretty cool.
It's cool. I like these kind of like the old school, like Fears to Fathom, all these like old like horror games, analog horror. I don't know why. That's so much more interesting. Some of these than these actual AAA, except for like Outlast. They're never topping Outlast.
The AAA ones, it's the most horrible thing about them are the microtransactions.
Yeah, or they just don't have the same amount of love. They're like, yeah, we're just doing this for money.
Oh, yeah.
Like Forspoken, prime example. That game was made solely for money. Maybe they wanted to do IP, but they didn't put the love in it they put that other people have put into it. So that's why I didn't do as well.
That's how I felt with when I played NCAA. Like, I love the old NCAA games. Loved them. When they brought back, I'm like, this just feels soulless.
Yeah.
And so that's what bums me out. But before we go, you want to insert or tell people where they can find you? I won't say the word plug because I think it just no.
I use the word plug, so I'm a plug.
Oh.
You can find my podcast right now where I'm on YouTube at the Games and Gamers podcast. You look us up, we're red and purple. 2 G's. Just did an episode on Resident Evil 2 remake. I'll be probably in the like this upcoming Monday. What day? 3rd, 27th, 28th, 25th, whatever day. Monday. I'll be having Silent Hill 2 remake review coming out.
Ooh.
And then also another one, if you want to go watch me play games, I'm a cheat and do this. Go check out my other channel, All Around Gaming. You look at it, it has 2 Buster Swords crossing. I have to describe this, otherwise no one's ever going to find it. 2 Buster Swords crossing, a big red circle, a circle with red, green, and blue on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just described to both of them.
Yay!
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being out here, dude. I really do.
It was fun.
Find time and stuff.
I love talking video games with random strangers.
Well, like I said, I'm gonna have one. I'm also hoping to have one. I know we'll have a podcast in December because the video game awards come around. So I've been trying to get some people to do the video game awards. So we might just do a big one and react to it. So if you have time, I'll let you know the date and stuff like that. But also, yeah, I'm definitely gonna have you back on here because we're gonna be doing, and I'll meet you with some of the other guys too. We'll be doing some shit talking, especially with voices. Voices is a big shit talker. So,
oh yeah, 100%. We'll have fun with some of it.
But you guys all know where to find me. Otherwise, I mean, you wouldn't be watching this. And as always, I'm Taylor from Afro Official G, and I'll be catching y'all in the next one.